Hello, my name is Tom Weaver, and what I would like to talk about in this video is bicycle racing and the two basic types of bicycle races. There are really just two types of bicycle races, point-to-point and stage races. This applies to road bikes, mountain bikes, track, cyclocross, etc. Pretty much any bicycle race will fit into one of these two categories. Most of what I'll use for examples are races over roads, where they ride what, in my youth, we called 10 speeds. Category 1. Point-to-point races. These are just what the name implies. Point-to-point races generally take place on a single day, and whoever crosses the finish line first wins. It could be from one place to another, or for a certain number of laps around a closed course of some type, or a combination of these two. Some of the better-known examples of point-to-point road races are Paris-Roubaix, Milan-San Remo, and the Flèche Wallonne. These range in distance from about 200 to 300 kilometers. That's 120 to 180 miles in one day. Racing in whatever the weather happens to be, rain, snow, blistering heat, wind, and in the case of Paris-Roubaix, about a quarter of the race is over cobblestones. That's point-to-point racing. One place to another, one day. Category 2, stage races. Stage races are something different. They last anywhere from 3 days to 3 weeks. You heard me right, 3 weeks. Examples of stage races are the 1-week Tour of California and Tour Down Under in Australia. There are really only 3 races that last more than a week. These are each 3 weeks long. Collectively, they are known as the Grand Tours. They are the Vuelta a España in Spain, the Giro d'Italia in Italy, and the granddaddy of them all, the most famous bicycle race in the world, the Tour de France. Tom, how about a little more detail on that? Stages? What are stages? How many are there? Where are they? Okay. In 2014's Tour de France, there will be 21 stages, or one-day point-to-point races over the 3 weeks. There will be 2 rest days. Each year the tour follows a different route, so it goes through a variety of terrain. What can be guaranteed is that it will go into the Alps and the Pyrenees. It will also wander through the countryside, through rolling farmland. Some stages are absolutely gorgeous. The winner is the rider who takes the least amount of time to complete all the stages. The key point here is completes all the stages. There are no sick days or days off except for the 2 rest days. And on those days, the riders will simply take a more leisurely training ride of 100 miles or so. There are no excuses. If you fail to complete a single stage, you're out. In 2014, there are 4 types or classifications of the stages: individual time trial, mountain, hill, and flat stages. Let's look at each type. An individual time trial is just what it sounds like. One rider at a time against the clock. Riders start at 1 to 3 minute intervals and go as fast as they can for the whole distance, which will be just over 33 miles in 2014. Time trial is not the most interesting stage to watch, as it's just one rider going past, and then in a minute or so another rider passes, but it can make a big difference in the overall standings. Mountain stages are cruel and, for professional cyclists, usual punishment. They ride 50 miles and then are expected to climb 1, 2, or even more mountains in a row. Again, these stages can make big changes in the overall standings. Hill stages are really flat stages with big bumps rather than tall mountains. They're halfway between mountain and flat stages. Now we come to the flat stages. Are there hills and bumps? Of course. There are no absolutely flat roads for any great distance. All roads go up and down hills. You might not notice them when driving, but you sure do on a bike. These stages generally do not make for much change in the overall standings, but the rush to the finish is very exciting to watch. Each day, the current leader, the rider who has taken the least amount of time so far, gets to wear the leader's jersey. In the case of the Tour de France, this is the famous yellow jersey. After the final stage, the wearer of the yellow jersey, the rider who has taken the least amount of time to ride the 2,000 plus miles over the 3 weeks, is the winner of the Tour de France. There you have it, the two basic types of races, one-day or point-to-point races, and 3-day to 3-week stage races. This has barely touched the surface of stage races. There are a million other questions out there, questions such as, how are the times determined? Is everyone timed individually? All 198 riders? We mentioned the yellow jersey. Are there other jerseys? What are they? How are they determined? I've heard that racers are on teams. What's that about? How can there be teams in a bicycle race? We saw a picture with riders in a long line. Why are they doing that? And so on and so on. This has been just a very brief introduction to bicycle racing and the two types of bicycle races, point-to-point and stage. Again, I'm Tom Weaver, a cycling fan and definitely not a racer. Please address any comments and questions to 2014gtv@gmail.com or 2014gtv@gmail.com. And thanks for watching.